We will all inevitably make mistakes in our lifetimes. On the other hand, certain errors might permanently damage our hearts. This is the tale of a devoted mother who kept her child in a crib, but when she returned, the sight of her beloved child tore at her heart, and she couldn't stop wailing. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Terry was burned about 90% of her body in a fire at her Chantry, Suffolk house when she was just 22 months old. She was therefore the youngest burn survivor in Britain. Her mother had put her to sleep in a cot, but she didn't realize that she had left a cigarette burning in her child's room. 2 months before to the fire tragedy in Terry's hometown, Julie had split from Terry's father, Paul Calsbert, a manufacturing worker, 1998. Paul was out of the office at work on the day of the tragic incident. When she first walked out of the apartment, she had the intention of getting her own place and moving in with her infant. But she returned and moved in with Paul as a friend since she had missed her child so much. Although Julie doesn't usually smoke in the apartment, she couldn't figure out why she did it this specific day. She acknowledged that it was a bad decision. She said, "I don't know why to this day I did such a stupid thing." While speaking with Terry, the British mother unintentionally placed the cigarette down in her bedroom and left. During one of her initial interviews, she expressed sorrow for the event and stated she would relive it every second of her life. "She went through all of this because of me." Although she occasionally considered suicide, she realized that her daughter would still need her. The events of November 21, 1998, were a depressing experience. Since Terry was a peaceful and intelligent child who normally slept well, Julie did not know why the young boy would not stop sobbing when she left the room. She didn't think anything may be amiss at first, but as her daughter's cries became louder, she hurried back in the direction of the room. However, her baby's room was on fire when she arrived. The terrified mother instantly phoned 999, the emergency number, and began shouting out loud but was at a loss for words. She said, "My girl's in the bedroom, there's a fire." Julie became frightened and was unable to enter her baby's room. She then said that a great deal of people had told her that she ought to have gone in there and delivered her baby following the event. Julie had to summon firefighters to assist her rescue her baby since she was unable to enter her baby's room. She felt really afraid. She attempted to douse the flames herself, hurling bowls of water into her infant's bedroom, but to no avail. The firemen finally showed up after some time. Little Terry had ceased weeping by now. Terry was seen by the firefighters. They had trouble identifying the infant and questioned the girl's chances of survival. Simon Bevan, one of the firemen, stated that he had never seen somebody with burns as severe as Terry's. Her body was so rigid from her burns that it was hard for the firefighters to elevate her neck and start a CPR. Julie could not stand to look at the burn damage her lovely baby had sustained. After the fire was effectively extinguished by the firefighters, Terry was taken to Broomfield Hospital in Chelmsford, Essex, where she fought for her life. For Julie and her family, who were in the hospital to support her, it was an anxious moment. The attending physician for the infant's medical care nearly ended. He informed Julie and Paul that the infant had stopped breathing twice, but they were able to bring her back to life. Then he inquired about what to do in the event that she stopped breathing once more. Julie was in complete shock and had no idea what to say or do. Then her father spoke out, instructing the physician to follow his lead. Thankfully, that didn't happen again, since tiny Terry was such a strong fighter. Paul wondered to himself, is he going to lose his daughter too after first losing his wife? And was filled with great concern. What was noteworthy now was that her loving daughter never made judgments about her. It was easy for her to despise her mother and wish she had nothing at all to speak to her once more, but she never did. Terry came to terms with the fact that what had transpired had been an error. Instead, she contacted her mother to reassure her that she was not to be sorry for anything that had happened that night, that she was her mom forever, and that she had nothing to be sorry for. Is it not astounding how wonderful Terry is? Julie had intense emotions when Terry's recuperation reached a tipping point. She stated, "I was sitting in the chair holding her in my arms and she just looked at me and said, 'Mom.' Let's just assume that this woman was crying at that very moment. For weeks, the recuperating infant had not spoken until she uttered that one syllable. For Julie, a single statement just deepened her sadness as she convinced herself that she was to blame for all that had occurred. Following many months of surgeries and intense rehabilitation at Broomfield Hospital in Chelmsford, Essex, the 2-year-old daughter went back to her grandparents' house to live with her father, Paul. Terry's body was severely damaged, necessitating several surgeries. She needed to have the skin replaced as she grew, so she had to have roughly 40 skin transplant procedures. Her nose had to be operated on as part of her face reconstruction procedure. Julie cried after the fire incident when she saw her baby. "She was so swollen, I didn't even know if it was her," the woman remarked. "It was forbidden for me to touch her. It was terrifying." Only a few months after the tragedy, she made the terrible decision to stop seeing her daughter. She severed all ties to her child for a decade. Although she was having a very tough time, she considered the possibility that her guilt may not be as severe if her infant had not been around. Terry's bad experience almost destroyed her connection with her mother, who became so upset over her daughter's predicament that she could not bear to have her around. Julie acknowledges that she misses her beautiful daughter. When she later attempted to contact her daughter, social services informed her that she was not able to do so. Several years prior, the two had a tearful reunion. It seemed as though Julie and her lovely daughter had never parted when they first met. They shared the lovely moment by giving one another long embraces. Following that, they lost touch with one another for some time, but as of late, they have resumed messaging. Terry's mother said that occasionally they would text back and forth for 4 hours straight without stopping. The girl never once lost her smile, even in spite of her challenging circumstances. Many people were moved by her tale, and in 2012, the Ipswich Star newspaper launched an appeal for her, which raised around £500,000. Terry's well-wishers chose to aid with her future and gave this money. Additionally, she was assisted in leading as normal a life as possible by the innovative work of Professor Peter Zawelski at St. Andrew's Burn Center in Chelmsford, Essex. Incredible thing, huh? Terry says she has forgiven her mother for the fire outbreak in a documentary about the youngest burn survivor in Britain, although she wishes her mother had spent more time with her. Sometimes, when she's older, she remembers that her mother shouldn't have been smoking in their house. She dismissed that idea, though, reasoning that anybody may make a mistake and it wasn't her fault in the first place. Julie is a happy mother who adores her daughter today. She realized that she had to let go of her previous sins and move on from her guilt after witnessing her daughter's incredible qualities. The young child is still having surgeries to help her skin repair from harm. Terry declares that she would carry on pursuing her aspirations like everyone else and that she would not let the fire incident to define her life. Terry's narrative demonstrates that forgiveness can treat several ailments. These days, a lot of people all throughout the world look up to her. What lessons can you draw from this tale? Tell me in the comments below. I hope to run across you again soon. For now, bye. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.